Hello, sleepy thinkers, and welcome to Sleepy Science Teller. I'm so glad you're here. Tonight, we'll drift together into a gentle world between science and dreams, where we'll explore a quietly fascinating question. Do animals dream too? Dreams feel so deeply human. We close our eyes, our bodies grow still, and our minds begin to wander through strange, colorful worlds. But as we rest, something similar may be happening all around us, in the forests, in the oceans, and even in our own homes. Your dog, curled up at your feet, or the cat stretched out on the windowsill, might be dreaming right now. So tonight, we'll explore what scientists have discovered about the secret sleeping mind of animals. Before we begin, I'd love to know where in the world you're listening from tonight, and what time is it in your part of the world. Tell me in the comments below. I always love seeing how far our sleepy discoveries travel. And if you enjoy drifting off with gentle science stories, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Your support helps this peaceful space grow, and it lets me keep bringing you calm, thoughtful journeys through the mysteries of our universe. Sleep, it is one of the oldest rhythms in the story of life. Long before there were humans, or even mammals, there was rest. Across the earth, every living being, from the tiniest insect to the mightiest elephant, seems to obey this quiet pull toward stillness. In the hush of night or under the warmth of daylight, bodies slow, eyes close, and something mysterious happens inside. A pause, a surrender, a small return to silence. Scientists once thought sleep was a human luxury, a soft break between the busy hours of living. But as they watched other creatures and studied their rhythms, they discovered something humbling: that sleep is not a privilege of intelligence, but a requirement of life itself. Even creatures without eyelids, like fish or some reptiles, enter a kind of rest. Their movements slow, their awareness fades, and their inner systems begin to repair. Fruit flies, bees, even tiny worms show regular cycles of rest and wakefulness. It's as though sleep is written deep into the blueprint of biology, an unspoken rule shared by nearly every heartbeat. When we think of a sleeping animal, we often picture the familiar: a cat curled in a sunbeam, a dog snoring softly near the fire, a bird with its head tucked under a wing. But the truth of animal sleep is far wider and far stranger. Some creatures sleep while standing, like horses and giraffes, their legs locking gently, their bodies balanced in perfect, drowsy stillness. Others sleep while floating, like whales and seals, resting near the surface so they can breathe. There are even fish that sleep mid-current, their fins moving just enough to keep them steady, while their minds drift away. Every species has its own way of obeying this rhythm, and within each pause lies a mystery. What happens to their minds as they sleep? Do their thoughts fade to black, like a switch turn off? Or do they, too, wander through unseen worlds of imagination and memory? That is the quiet question at the heart of tonight's journey. Sleep seems strange, doesn't it? In a world built on survival, where every moment awake can mean food, safety, or life, why would any creature choose to become still and unaware, even for a short while? To fall asleep is to become vulnerable, yet nature insists upon it. For decades, scientists searched for an answer, and what they found is both practical and poetic. During sleep, bodies heal. Cells repair themselves, muscles grow stronger, immune systems recharge. But something deeper happens, too, inside the brain, even in animals, neurons hum with activity during rest. Memories form and reorganize. Experiences from the day before are replayed and stored. A tiny bird, for example, may relive its flight routes. A mouse may replay the smell of a trail that led to food. Sleep is not simply rest. It is the workshop of the mind. Across species, this pattern repeats, a cycle: wake and rest and renewal. Bees sleep in their hives. Octopuses change color as they slumber, their skin shimmering with soft patterns, as though dreams ripple across their bodies. Even jellyfish, creatures without a brain, display sleep-like behavior. Their pulses slow, their reactions weaken, and when disturbed, they take time to wake up. It's astonishing that even without thought, life still needs stillness. Some researchers believe that sleep is not merely a habit of living things, but a fundamental biological rhythm, a kind of internal tide that sweeps through every living system. Imagine the entire natural world breathing together, a great, unseen rhythm of wakefulness and rest, day and night, movement and pause. In that slow exchange, life resets itself. And perhaps, in that reset, the earliest dreams were born. Let's travel back in time, hundreds of millions of years ago, to the first creatures that ever closed their eyes or drifted into silence. There were no humans, no mammals, just the quiet stirrings of simple organisms learning to live and rest. Even then, sleep existed, not as a conscious choice, but as a necessary rhythm. Cells would shut down, conserve energy, and repair themselves. But as nervous systems grew more complex, as brains began to form connections and memories, something new may have appeared. Tiny flickers of awareness. During rest, could those have been the first dreams? In modern animals, those flickers still exist. When scientists record the electrical patterns of sleeping creatures, they find waves of activity that look astonishingly familiar. A lizard, a bird, a mouse. Their sleeping brains hum with cycles that mirror our own. It's as though all life shares a single, ancient dream, passed down through time. In the dark forests, the quiet oceans of fields and burrows, millions of creatures drift into the same invisible current, each night or day, depending on their world. And somewhere within that gentle stillness, their minds may wander, just like ours do. This is the quiet mystery of sleep across species, a rhythm that unites the living world. Different shapes, different sounds, but one universal pause. It reminds us that, in a way, we are all connected by the shared silence between our waking hours. And as we rest tonight, perhaps the earth itself rests with us, breathing slowly and dreaming softly. When the body falls still, the brain begins its quiet symphony. To the outside world, sleep looks like silence, but inside the mind it is anything but. Imagine, for a moment, drifting into the first minutes of rest. Your heartbeat slows, your muscles loosen, your breathing becomes soft and rhythmic, and deep within your skull, billions of neurons begin to change their pattern of communication. It's like a great orchestra shifting from a bright, fast melody to a slow, deep harmony. The tempo drops, the tones grow gentle, but the music continues, quiet, invisible, and full of meaning. In humans, we call these shifting brain patterns sleep stages. Scientists describe them by the letters N1, N2, N3, and REM. Each stage has its own unique rhythm, like the movements of a nocturnal symphony. And when researchers placed electrodes on the heads of animals, They found something remarkable. The same rhythmic dance appears again and again across species. A sleeping cat's brain waves drift through the same slow undulations as ours. A dolphin's half-asleep hemisphere produces identical patterns. Even small creatures, rats, birds, and reptiles, display these same familiar brain rhythms. It is as if sleep itself speaks a universal language, a shared biological code, written across the vast diversity of life. During deep sleep, brain waves become long and slow. In this stage, the brain rests, repairing cells, clearing waste, and restoring the body's delicate chemistry. But as sleep deepens, something strange begins to happen. The brain, though resting, starts to spark again. Flashes of fast electrical activity appear, short bursts of energy rippling through the cortex. To the scientists who watched these patterns, it looked as though the brain were whispering to itself, remembering, reorganizing, and preparing for something mysterious that comes next. That something is dreaming, and it begins with a stage called REM, rapid eye movement sleep, the mind's midnight theater. But before we drift into that, let's stay just a little longer in this gentle rhythm of slow waves, the stage of true rest. In this deep state, the body releases hormones that heal, the immune system strengthens, and memories begin to settle into long-term storage. When we awaken refreshed, it's not because our minds have been idle, but because they've been quietly working behind the curtain of consciousness. Even now, as you listen and imagine the sleeping minds of animals across the world, try to picture their brains glowing softly in the dark, tiny pulses of light moving across invisible circuits, each creature lost in its own rhythm of renewal. That is the sleeping brain, alive yet resting, silent yet full of motion. When scientists first measured sleep in animals, they were astonished by what they saw. A sleeping rat, for example, showed the same slow waves and REM bursts as a human. A parrot, head tucked beneath its wing, exhibited patterns identical to ours. And even in reptiles, creatures with brains so ancient, so different, there were alternating stages of rest and rapid brain activity. Sleep, it seemed, was not just rest. It was conversation. Inside the brain, neurons that fired together during the day, fired again during the night, as though replaying the movie of waking life. In humans, this strengthens memory and learning, and in animals, it appears to do the same. A bird learning a new song, a rat exploring a maze, a dog chasing a stick in the park. All replay those moments while they sleep. Their brains whisper them over and over until they are remembered. It's a process called neural consolidation, a beautiful hidden rhythm where the day's experiences are carefully folded into long-term memory. Even emotions are sorted here. Fear and comfort, excitement and calm are gently rebalanced during the night. This is why a creature frightened during the day may wake calmer the next morning. The brain is not simply sleeping. It's healing itself. In humans, this process feels subtle. We rarely sense the mind working behind the scenes. But in animals, scientists have seen its fingerprints in behavior and instinct. When zebra finches learn a new song, their brains pulse with activity while they sleep, almost as if the song is being sung again. In dreams, when rats practice mazes, their sleeping brains fire in the same order as before, replaying each twist and turn. And when dogs curl up to sleep, their paws twitch in time with memories of running. That's not random motion. That's the sleeping brain remembering. Even insects show simpler versions of this phenomenon. Fruit flies deprived of rest lose their ability to remember paths or scents, but when allowed to sleep, their performance returns. Everywhere we look, sleep strengthens memory and balance, a natural rehearsal, a whispering workshop in the night. Perhaps that is why nature defends sleep so fiercely, because the dream is to remember how to live. Now, let's step even deeper into the brain's quiet night. In recent years, neuroscientists have found something breathtaking. While we sleep, tiny waves of fluid wash through the brain, clearing away toxins and metabolic waste. It's as if the mind cleans itself each night, like a tide rolling through moonlit sand. This process, called the glymphatic system, is present in many animals, not just humans. Even mice, whales, and bats experience these nightly cleansing waves. The sleeping brain, it seems, is both gardener and dreamer, weeding away what is no longer needed, nourishing what must grow. For us, this process keeps the mind healthy and clear. For animals, it may do the same, preserving the sharp instincts that guide them through the wilderness. But there is another mystery still. Sometimes, even when deeply asleep, the brain flashes with bursts of creativity. In humans, these are moments of dreaming. In animals, scientists believe, these flashes could be the origins of dreamlike thought, replaying emotions, sensations, and even images. It's humbling to imagine that, while you rest in your room, somewhere in the forest or the ocean, another mind is also glowing softly in the dark, not awake, but not entirely gone. Perhaps a wolf is dreaming of the hunt. Perhaps a dolphin is reliving the shimmer of sunlight through water. Perhaps a tiny mouse is replaying the scent of grain. All of it unseen, unheard, but alive in the quiet world beneath consciousness. That is the sleeping brain, a silent, shimmering ocean of thoughts, where life repairs itself each night. So, the next time you close your eyes and feel your own mind drift, remember that you are not alone in this gentle rhythm. Everywhere, in nests, in burrows, in coral caves, and mountain dens, brains are sleeping. Some small, some enormous, each one quietly dreaming the language of life. There comes a moment in every night's sleep when stillness gives way to motion. The body remains calm, heavy, and quiet, but deep within the mind, something stirs. A spark of energy, a flicker of light, a subtle trembling behind the eyelids. This is the beginning of REM sleep, the stage where dreams are born. REM, short for rapid eye movement, is one of the most mysterious phenomena in biology. It appears in humans, in mammals, and even in birds and reptiles. It is the mind's secret theater, a place where the past, present, and imagination blur into one soft stream of thought. When scientists first observed REM in the early 1950s, they were astonished. Sleeping humans, and soon after animals, showed rapid, darting movements beneath their closed eyelids, as though watching something unseen. At the same time, their brain waves came alive, buzzing and flashing almost as intensely as when fully awake. The body, however, remained motionless, muscles relaxed, limbs frozen by a protective signal from the brainstem. It was as if the body were paralyzed, while the mind danced freely in its own world. This delicate contrast between inner motion and outer stillness defines REM sleep. And within that paradox lies the mystery of dreaming. Scientists soon learned that REM occurs in cycles. In humans, it appears about every 90 minutes, In cats, more often. In elephants, rarely. Some birds experience it in short bursts, a few seconds at a time, their tiny eyes fluttering as if glimpsing a flash of memory. Even reptiles, once thought incapable of dreaming, have shown REM-like phases in recent studies. A lizard's brain waves pulse. Its eyes twitch beneath closed lids. Its breathing shifts to a faster rhythm. It's a gentle reminder that dreaming may be far older than we ever imagined. During REM, heart rate rises, breathing becomes uneven, and the brain, though resting, ignites with activity. Images form, sensations bloom, and the mind weaves them into flowing scenes. For humans, these become stories, our dreams. For animals, the same process may unfold in simpler sensory ways, flashes of running, hunting, flying, or hearing a familiar call. It's beautiful to think that at this very moment, as you listen, somewhere, a cat may be dreaming of stalking in tall grass. A bird might be dreaming of the wind beneath its wings, and a dog might be chasing the echo of a joyful bark across the landscape of its mind, all of them drawn into the same hidden current of consciousness, the river of REM. Inside the brain, REM sleep is a storm of activity. To the naked eye, a sleeping creature seems utterly still, but within its skull, neurons are firing at incredible speed, painting invisible landscapes of thought and sensation. Modern neuroscience has revealed that during REM, certain areas of the brain, especially those linked to emotion and memory, glow with intense activation. The amygdala, the hippocampus, the visual cortex, they all light up as though the creature were awake. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the seat of logic and control, grows quiet. This unique combination creates the dream world, a place where logic softens, emotion takes the lead, and imagination flows freely. For animals, this balance may serve a profound purpose. REM sleep allows the brain to process emotions and to test new behaviors in a safe, internal world. A young kitten might practice hunting in its dreams, perfecting the motions of pounce and leap before ever chasing a real mouse. A fledgling bird might rehearse the timing of its wings before taking its first flight. These silent rehearsals, invisible to the world, shape instinct and intelligence alike. In laboratory studies, rats deprived of REM sleep struggle to learn new mazes or adapt to changes. Songbird deprived of REM forget portions of their songs, and humans deprived of it grow emotionally fragile, forgetful, and prone to daydreams while awake. REM, it seems, is the mind's teacher, a nightly classroom where memories and emotions are woven into meaning. But REM sleep does more than teach. It connects. In REM, distant memories may blend with recent experiences. A dog might dream of its owner and a scent of grass combined. A dolphin might dream of the feel of the ocean, mixed with the echo of another's call. For us, these mixtures become surreal stories. For animals, they may simply feel like reliving the sensations that matter most. Dreaming, then, is not just a byproduct of rest. It's a quiet act of remembering. Each night, across the planet, millions of minds enter this vivid stage, each with its own inner movie. And although no one can see another creature's dreams, their bodies whisper hints. The twitch of a paw, the flutter of an eyelid, the tiny murmur of breath, as the dream unfolds within. It's an entire world of silent stories, playing across the earth, beneath the veil of night, the more scientists study REM sleep, the more they realize it transcends species boundaries. From mice to monkeys, from sparrows to seals, the patterns repeat. The rapid eye movements, the heightened brain activity, the deep muscle stillness. In birds, REM sleep often comes in tiny fragments, lasting only a few seconds at a time. Yet, during those moments, their brains replay the same neural rhythms. They used to sing while awake. It's as if their dreams are made of music. In dolphins, REM appears differently. Because they must surface to breathe, their brains alternate, one hemisphere sleeping while the other remains alert. Still, bursts of REM-like activity flicker through their sleeping side. It's possible that even as they glide through dark water, half of their mind is dreaming. In reptiles, researchers discovered similar cycles, brief, recurring phases of activity that echo both deep and REM sleep. This suggests that the architecture of dreaming is ancient, perhaps stretching back hundreds of millions of years to the first creatures with complex brains. And then there are mammals like elephants who sleep only a few hours a night and enter REM rarely, perhaps once every few days. Yet when they do, their brains shimmer with patterns, nearly identical to ours. Could it be that their rare, deep dreams are as vast and emotional as their waking minds? We may never know for certain, but in observing these patterns, one truth becomes clear. REM sleep is not a human phenomenon. It is a universal expression of the living mind. Each species may dream differently, through vision, sound, scent, or motion, but the essence is the same. The brain creates an inner world to process the outer one. It's humbling to imagine that somewhere in the wilderness, a lion might dream of the savannah, a whale might dream of sunlight shimmering through deep water, and a small bird might dream of flight, not as memory, but as feeling. In that sense, dreaming connects us all. Every sleeping creature, every flicker of REM is part of a shared biological art, the art of imagining. So tonight, as you close your eyes and drift towards sleep, know that countless others, animals of land, sea, and sky, are drifting with you into the same gentle stage, the dream stage, where the universe thinks softly to itself. Scientists have long been captivated by this question, by that simple, beautiful mystery curled up at the foot of the bed. And over the decades, through careful observation and tender curiosity, they've uncovered evidence that points towards something wondrous. Yes, dogs dream. The clues begin in the brain itself. When researchers first measured the brain activity of sleeping dogs, what they found was a familiar rhythm, the same pattern seen in human sleep. As a dog drifts into slumber, its brain passes through several distinct stages. First comes light sleep, where the muscles begin to relax and the heartbeat slows. Then deeper waves take over, slow, rolling surges of electrical calm. But after a while, the pattern changes dramatically. The brain suddenly sparks with bursts of energy, rapid and irregular, resembling the lively patterns of wakefulness. This is the moment when the eyes begin to twitch beneath the lids, the REM stage, or rapid eye movement sleep. And in both humans and dogs, REM is where dreams live. During this stage, the pons, a tiny structure in the brainstem, sends signals to temporarily paralyze most of the body's muscles, keeping the dreamer safe and still while the mind wanders. But those signals aren't perfect. Little fragments of movement slip through, a paw jerk, a twitching ear, a soft bark in the dark. And so we see the dream expressed through the tiniest emotions. To understand just how deeply dogs experience this, scientists once conducted a fascinating experiment. They gently disabled the pawns, only temporarily, and only in the safest of conditions, in sleeping dogs. Without the pawns enforcing stillness, something remarkable occurred. The dogs began to physically act out their dreams. They lifted their heads, sniffed invisible scents, moved their legs as though running, even wagged their tails. It was as if the hidden world of their dreams had spilled into reality. This discovery left little doubt. Dogs don't just sleep, they dream. And just as in humans, those dreams are not random flickers of thought. They are built from memories, emotions, and experiences. The sleeping brain replays what the waking brain has lived. When a dog spends its day exploring, sniffing trails, chasing birds, play with its human, the neural circuits that fire during those joyful moments are reactivated during sleep. In one study, scientists observed this phenomenon in rats navigating mazes. When the rats later slept, their brain activity replayed the exact same patterns, as if running the maze again but in dream form. So if rats can relive their days, imagine what unfolds in the mind of a dog. Perhaps your dog dreams of the morning walk, of the smell of dew on grass, of the laughter in your voice when you call its name. Maybe it dreams of the sound of its leash jingling, or of sunlight pouring through the window, or of a face, yours, looking back with love. What makes this especially moving is that dogs don't just dream mechanically. They dream emotionally. Their brains, like ours, are equipped with an amygdala and a hippocampus, the regions responsible for emotion and memory. That means their dreams aren't just sensory. They're felt. A dog's dream can carry joy, excitement, curiosity, and maybe even longing. It's why a sleeping puppy might whimper softly, or why an older dog may growl faintly while its paws twitch. Inside that still body, the brain is staging an emotional performance, running through feelings as vivid as any human's. One can imagine it so clearly. A golden retriever, curled at the foot of a couch, lets out a small bark. In its dream, it's chasing a ball through tall grass, sunlight flashing across its fur. A border collie, lying by the fireplace, twitches as it herds invisible sheep through dream meadows. A sleepy beagle, nose twitching, follows a scent trail that winds endlessly through forests of memory. And somewhere in those dreamscapes, there's something more than instinct. There's connection. Dogs, after all, are creatures built around companionship. Their bond with humans is ancient and emotional, carved by thousands of years of shared life. So it's not hard to imagine that when a dog dreams, we might appear in those dreams. The scent of our skin, the sound of our laughter, the rhythm of our footsteps. To the dog, we are part of the pack, part of the story its mind replays in the quiet dark. And in this, the science becomes poetic, because sleep in every creature is a mirror reflecting not just biology but relationship. A dog's dream may be less about the chase and more about the comfort of belonging. When we watch them sleep, their breathing slow, their body relaxed, their trust absolute. We see what it means to feel safe enough to dream. That trust, that peace, is a kind of love story. Scientists even suspect that the emotional depth of a dog's dreams could help them regulate mood, much as it does in humans. Dreaming allows the brain to process emotions, to sort, soften, and make sense of them. A day filled with excitement or stress is reshaped at night into calm understanding. Perhaps that's why dogs, even after busy, chaotic days, wake with such effortless joy. Their minds have already washed the day clean. And maybe that's something humans can learn from them. How to let go, to surrender the day, to trust the night, and to wake with an open heart once more. When morning arrives and sunlight creeps across the floor, the dreaming ends. The dog stirs, stretches, blinks, a soft yawn breaking the silence. It rises slowly, as if crossing a border between two worlds, one real, one remembered, and for just a fleeting instant, you might notice it pause. A little tilt of the head, a distant look in the eyes, as though it's recalling something only it knows. Maybe, for a moment, it remembers a dream. Then, with a wag of the tail, the spell breaks. The world returns, full of sound and scent and motion. But still, something of that dream remains, an echo, a residue of contentment that lingers in the warmth of the animal's presence. The thought that dogs dream connects us to them in a way that feels ancient. It reminds us that consciousness is not a solitary flame, but a shared fire, that deep within every sleeping creature, whether human or dog or dolphin, there lies a spark of imagination. We are all storytellers in our sleep. Perhaps this is why dogs have always seemed to understand us so easily. They live close to the rhythm of dreaming, to the boundary between instinct and emotion, between memory and imagination. Their minds rest closer to wonder. And so, when your dog curls up beside you tonight, paws tucked, breath slow, take a moment to imagine what worlds might bloom behind those closed eyes. Maybe it's running through the park. Maybe it's chasing birds across the sky. Maybe, somewhere in that soft landscape of sleep, it's simply lying at your side, content whole, dreaming of the sound of your voice. There's something sacred in that image, something that humbles and comforts. Because when we see a dog dream, we are reminded of something we all share, the longing to rest, to remember, and to return to the places where love once lived. Dreams, it seems, are not bound by species. They are a universal whisper of life reflecting upon itself, of minds large and small remembering what it means to feel alive. And so, in the stillness of night, when your loyal companion drifts into that twitching, tender sleep, know that you are witnessing one of nature's most beautiful miracles. Not just the miracle of dreaming, but the miracle of connection, a bridge between waking and sleep, between human and animal, between science and soul. And somewhere, beneath those softly fluttering eyelids, your friend is running free. Picture this. The world is quiet, the lights dim, and on a windowsill bathed in the silver glow of moonlight, a cat curls into a perfect spiral. Her tail wraps neatly around her body, her paws tucked beneath her chin, and with a soft sigh, she drifts into sleep. Cats, perhaps more than any other creature, seem made for sleep. They can spend up to 16 hours a day resting, slipping easily between wakefulness and dream. Yet, despite this constant napping, every cat owner knows a cat's sleep is never ordinary. There's something mysterious in it, something alive as she sleeps. Her ears twitch at distant sounds no one else hears. Her whiskers tremble. Her paws move as if chasing invisible prey. In that still room, her body tells a quiet story, a story written in small, instinctive movements that hint at a hidden world within. Scientists began studying feline sleep decades ago. They discovered that, much like humans and dogs, cats also pass through cycles of light sleep, deep sleep, and the most fascinating of all, REM sleep, the stage of vivid dreaming. During REM, her eyes dart rapidly beneath closed lids. Her breathing becomes shallow and irregular. The muscles of her face twitch softly, as if reacting to something unseen. It's in this stage that her dreaming mind awakens. And while we can't ask her what she sees, the clues are everywhere. Her body whispers it in every gentle twitch and sigh. Cats, after all, are hunters by nature. Even the most pampered house cat carries the instincts of her wild ancestors. And those instincts come alive again in dreams, where the hunt continues in perfect silence, where the grass parts beneath imagined paws, and the air is alive with the scent of pursuit. In that dreaming moment, she is both wild and peaceful, both predator and dreamer. Let's slip quietly now into science. In the early 1950s, a French neuroscientist named Michel Jouvet made an astonishing discovery. While studying the sleep patterns of cats, he found that during a certain stage of sleep, their brains became incredibly active, almost as active as when they were awake. He called this stage paradoxical sleep. Because it looked paradoxical, the cat appeared deeply asleep, yet her brain was alive with motion and color. Jouvet also noticed that if he gently disabled the mechanism that keeps a sleeper's muscles relaxed during REM sleep, something remarkable happened. The cat would stand up, stalk invisible prey, and even pounce, all while still asleep. These weren't random movements. They were coordinated, purposeful, like the echoes of ancient instincts replaying themselves in dream form. This discovery gave science its first direct evidence that animals do, in fact, dream, and cats were among the first to reveal it. Today, using EEG scans and brain imaging, researchers continue to confirm what Jouvet found, that the feline brain in REM sleep behaves almost identically to the awake brain. The motor areas light up, the sensory cortex hums with activity in the limbic system. The region tied to emotion becomes vibrant. It's as if the cat's mind is revisiting the day's experiences, not just replaying them, but reliving them. Maybe she dreams of stalking a toy mouse, or the fluttering of wings just outside the window. Maybe she dreams of warmth, or the reassuring rhythm of her human's heartbeat when curled on their lap. Cats don't just dream about movement. They dream about emotion. And though we'll never hear their stories, their bodies tell them for us. In every whisker twitch, in every tiny sound they make while asleep. In this way, the sleeping cat becomes both a mystery and a mirror, a small, silent reflection of how memory and emotion shape the inner lives of all creatures. Now, let's slow everything down. Imagine the world as seen through the eyes of a dreaming cat. In her dream, colors are softer, sounds are sharper, movements flow like ripples in still water. She prowls through tall grass that glows in the pale moonlight. Every scent tells a story, of earth, of prey, of the wind's quiet whisper. Dreams, for her, are not human stories told in words. They are sensations. A cat's world is built on senses, on the flicker of motion, the rhythm of heartbeats, the sound of silence between sounds. And so her dreams, too, must be woven from these same threads. Scientists believe that feline dreams serve an important role, helping the brain strengthen memories, refine instincts, and prepare for the challenges of survival. When kittens dream, for instance, their brains replay the day's discoveries, the first leap, the first pounce, the first curious look at the world around them. Each dream becomes a rehearsal, sculpting the neural circuits that shape who they'll become. And for adult cats, dreams may be a way to balance emotion and memory, to soothe, to process, to understand. A quiet therapy of the sleeping mind. It's a lovely thought, isn't it? That even as the house sleeps somewhere within a cat's dreaming heart, a tiny universe stirs. A world where she runs free through moonlit fields, where time slows and everything is soft and golden. When she wakes, she stretches gracefully, as if returning from that faraway land. And with one calm blink, the dream dissolves. But perhaps, for just a moment longer, the dream lingers in her eyes, a flicker of something remembered, a fragment of her own secret world. High above us, where the air is thin and the clouds drift like thoughts, Birds have always been symbols of freedom. They soar, they glide, they vanish into the horizon. And yet, when night falls, even these tireless travelers must rest. If you've ever watched a bird sleep, perhaps nestle on a branch, or perch quietly under the eaves, you'll notice how serene they seem. One eye often remains slightly open, the chest moves in a rhythm of calm breathing, and the world fades gently away. But what happens inside their tiny, mysterious minds as they sleep? Do birds, with all their intelligence and grace, dream too? Scientists have long been fascinated by this question. For centuries, people thought dreaming might be something unique to mammals, a feature tied to the complexity of the human brain. But as sleep research advanced, it became clear that birds, with their intricate songs, their migrations, their intelligence, share many traits once thought to be exclusively human. In fact, studies show that birds experience REM sleep just like we do. Their eyes move rapidly beneath closed lids. Their brain patterns shift into an active, dreamlike rhythm, and sometimes their bodies tremble slightly, as if responding to something unseen. This discovery was a revelation, because it meant that even creatures of the air, being so different from us, might live secret dream lives while they sleep. Imagine a swallow dreaming of open skies, a nightingale replaying its song in silence, a parrot murmuring soft, fragmented sounds, echoes of the words it learned in daylight. Their dreams might not be stories like ours, but patterns, sensations, melodies, and flashes of memory woven together in the quiet fabric of sleep. And in that, perhaps birds and humans are not so different after all. Both are creatures who carry their days into the night, reliving, remembering, and reshaping their worlds inside the gentle cocoon of dream. Let's drift now into the fascinating science behind bird dreams. In a quiet laboratory at the University of Chicago, researchers once studied a group of zebra finches, small songbirds known for their bright plumage and melodic voices. During the day, these finches practiced their songs, learning, refining, and repeating sequences of notes. But when night came and they fell asleep, something astonishing happened. As the birds rested, tiny electrodes recorded their brain activity. The scientists noticed that during sleep, the same regions of the brain that controlled song learning reactivated. It was as if the birds were silently singing in their dreams. Their vocal muscles twitched ever so slightly. Their breathing matched the rhythm of their songs, and their brain waves mirrored the exact pattern seen during daytime singing practice. In other words, they were rehearsing in their sleep. This phenomenon, known as neuronal replay, suggests that dreams in birds may serve a vital purpose, helping them strengthen memories, perfect complex skills, and prepare for the challenges of waking life. For young birds, especially, this process is essential. Learning a song is no small feat. It requires memory, rhythm, and precision. And much like human infants replay the sounds and patterns of speech while they sleep, young songbirds may use their dreams to refine their voices. It's an extraordinary parallel, a gentle reminder that learning and dreaming are deeply intertwined. Even migratory birds, like geese and swifts, may use sleep to process navigational memories. The stars, the magnetic fields, the invisible paths across continents. Their dreams might be made of landscapes and skies, a kind of celestial map replayed in the quiet hours of rest. So when you see a small bird dozing, head tucked beneath its wing, know that inside that tiny brain, an entire world might be unfolding, a world of melody, motion, and memory. Now, close your eyes for a moment and picture a forest at dawn. The air is cool, misty, and the first birds are beginning to stir. Before they sing, before they move, they awaken from dreams. In that soft boundary between sleep and wakefulness, Their dreams dissolve into song. It's possible, even likely, that the melodies we hear each morning are shaped, in part, by what they rehearse in their dreams. Some researchers believe that bird dreams might blend emotional and sensory, much like ours do. When a bird sings, it's not just producing sound. It's expressing territory, identity, and sometimes affection. And during sleep, those same neural circuits light up again, suggesting that birds may dream in feelings as much as in images. Imagine a mother bird dreaming of her chicks, the warmth of their tiny bodies in the nest, or a migrating crane dreaming of the endless blue above and the magnetic pull home. Every flicker of their sleeping brain carries echoes of life, the same way our dreams echo our days. In the quiet of night, dreams become bridges between learning and memory, between instinct and imagination. And in that bridge, birds remind us of something profound, that dreaming may not belong to humans alone. It may be the shared language of all creatures with memory, emotion, and wonder. When morning comes and the first song fills the air, perhaps it is not merely a greeting to the sun, but the last echo of a dream carried into waking life. When we think of dreaming, we often imagine humans, or perhaps dogs and cats, lost in their quiet worlds. But deep beneath the grass, in quiet corners of forests and fields, there live tiny dreamers whose minds may be far more active than we ever imagined. Rodents, small, unassuming creatures, have played a surprisingly large role in uncovering the mysteries of dreams. Mice, rats, hamsters, they sleep curled in their nests, their whiskers trembling, their tiny paws twitching in rhythm with invisible movements. To the human eye, it might seem insignificant, but to science, these small twitches hide something extraordinary. In a dimly lit laboratory at MIT, neuroscientists once studied sleeping rats who had spent their days exploring a maze. During the experiment, researchers recorded the firing of specific neurons in the rats' brains, neurons in a region called the hippocampus, which is crucial for memory and spatial navigation. As the rats ran through the maze, each location they visited activated a unique pattern of cells, like musical notes forming a melody of memory. Later, when the rats fell asleep, something remarkable happened. Those same patterns replayed, in the same order, the same rhythm, as though the rats were retracing their steps in a dream. It was as if the maze still existed within their minds, and they were walking it again quietly, perfectly, in sleep. This finding, known as hippocampal replay, changed the way scientists understood dreaming. It showed that even the smallest brains are capable of reliving experience, that memory, learning, and dream are deeply intertwined. So the next time you see a mouse curled up in the corner of a barn, its tiny body softly rising and falling, imagine the hidden world unfolding inside, the memory of tunnels and food and paths replaying beneath its fragile skull. It is a dream as real and as meaningful as our own. Let's drift deeper now into the science that lives within those tiny dreams. The hippocampus, that small, seahorse-shaped structure in the brain, is where experiences are stored, mapped, and transformed into memory. In rodents, this region is astonishingly active during both wakefulness and sleep. When a rat explores a new environment, each new corner, each turn, activates a specific cluster of neurons called play cells. These cells create an internal map, a mental GPS that helps the animal understand where it is. But when the rat sleeps, those same play cells light up again. They replay the day's journey, often at a faster speed, as if the brain is reviewing, condensing, and strengthening its own memories. It's not random. The replay happens in perfect sequence, a kind of miniature film of experience projected inside the mind. Researchers found that this process doesn't just happen once. It repeats over and over through the night. Each replay refines a memory, carving it deeper into the brain's structure. This is why scientists now believe that dreaming may serve one of the most vital biological purposes of all: to learn, to remember, and to adapt. The same neural magic that lets a rat remember a maze helps humans remember the events of their day, the faces of loved ones, the rhythm of familiar routines. Dreaming, then, is not just fantasy. It is a form of internal education, a rehearsal of life in silence and darkness. And even in creatures as small as rodents, this cycle of replay builds resilience, intelligence, and adaptation. It turns experience into knowledge, and knowledge into survival. As the tiny dreamers sleep, the world outside continues, wind whispering through the grass, the night stretching endlessly, and within their fragile skulls, the universe of memory flickers alive. Now, let's pause and breathe slowly for a moment, because this part of the story is not just about rodents. It's about all of us. The discovery of hippocampal replay taught science something profound: that dreaming is not defined by size or species or complexity. It is defined by the ability to remember and to feel. Rats, it turns out, don't only replay mazes. They also replay emotional experiences. When exposed to pleasure or fear, the same neural circuits reactivate in their dreams. This means they are not only remembering where they've been, they are reliving how it felt. A rat who found a safe shelter might dream of that comfort. One who faced danger might dream of escape, the pounding of tiny heartbeats echoing faintly through sleep. In this way, even the smallest creatures carry emotional worlds, internal landscapes shaped by memory, experience, and instinct. One study found that when rats were taught a simple task, following a sound to find food, the neurons responsible for that learning fired again in REM sleep. But when those rats were deprived of REM, their ability to remember the task vanished. It was as if the memory needed the dream to survive. How beautiful that is, that even in something so small, so quiet, the act of dreaming serves a purpose so large. So tonight, when you imagine the world sleeping, remember that in the fields, the burrows, and the corners of the earth, a million tiny minds are at work, reliving, remembering, and dreaming. Dreams connect them to life itself. And through them, science whispers to us a gentle truth, that the dream is not just a human gift. It is the language of life, spoken softly in every sleeping creature. Picture an African plain, the air still and warm, and a small herd of elephants moving silently beneath a sky full of stars. The matriarch leads, her massive feet pressing softly into the dust, her trunk brushing gently against her calves' back as they walk. They travel even through the night, pausing only briefly to rest. It seems impossible, such great creatures, needing so little sleep. And yet, that's what makes them fascinating. Among all the animals studied, elephants are some of the lightest sleepers on Earth. In the wild, they may rest for only 2 hours a day, and sometimes they go days without lying down at all. When they do sleep, they often remain standing, swaying gently, eyes half closed, drifting between wakefulness and dream. Scientists once believed this meant elephants didn't dream. How could they, when they barely reach REM sleep, the stage most associated with vivid dreaming? But as researchers began tracking elephants in their natural habitats, using tiny motion sensors and brainwave monitors, a deeper truth began to emerge. Elephants do experience REM sleep, but rarely, sometimes only once every few days. And when it happens, it's brief, delicate, and almost sacred. During that time, the great brain of the elephant, one of the largest and most complex on the planet, flickers alive in patterns eerily similar to those of dreaming humans. Perhaps in those brief moments, they revisit the memories of their long, emotional days, the faces of their companions, the sound of rain, the scent of distant water. Because elephants never forget, and if they dream, then their dreams must be deep rivers of memory, slow, vast, and full of feeling. It's a comforting thought, isn't it, that even the mightiest creatures on earth close their eyes and surrender, however briefly, to a world within. Now let's leave the dry earth behind and drift gently into the water, into the silent, shimmering world of the dolphin. Here, dreams take a very different shape, because dolphins cannot afford to fall fully asleep. Unlike land animals, dolphins must come to the surface to breathe, even in the stillness of night. If they fell completely unconscious, they would drown. And so, nature crafted an extraordinary solution: unihemispheric sleep. In this state, one half of the dolphin's brain sleeps, while the other remains awake. One eye closes, the other stays open. Half the body rests, while the other half keeps the dolphin swimming gently through the water, surfacing just often enough to breathe. It's as if their consciousness floats in two worlds at once, one dreaming, one aware. Scientists have studied dolphins in this state and found something astonishing. Even when only one hemisphere sleeps, the resting side still produces slow, rhythmic waves, patterns similar to deep sleep in humans. Sometimes subtle REM-like activity appears, the flicker of an eye, a faint muscle movement, suggesting that even in this divided rest, dreams might be possible. What would a dolphin dream of? Perhaps of the shimmering sunlight above the waves, or the echoes of sonar bouncing off coral walls, or the touch of another dolphin's fin as they swim side by side. Their dreams, if they have them, might be half real, half imagined, a gentle blending of wakefulness and vision, flowing like the water they live in. Some scientists even believe dolphins experience a continuous form of awareness, a kind of living dream where consciousness never fully turns off. If true, it means that dolphins inhabit a state we can barely imagine, a place between waking and dreaming, where thought, memory, and instinct all drift together. It's an idea as poetic as it is scientific, that the ocean itself might be full of half-dreaming minds, gliding silently through the dark. Now, imagine this. Somewhere deep in the night, an elephant standing quietly beneath a starry sky, and far away, a dolphin gliding slowly through the moonlit waves. Two very different worlds, yet both suspended in the same universal rhythm of rest. Sleep, no matter how it appears, is nature's most mysterious gift, and in creatures as intelligent as elephants and dolphins, it becomes something more than mere rest. It becomes conscious rest. For elephants, that rest is filled with memory. Their immense brains store lifetimes of experiences, migration paths, family bonds, even grief. When they sleep, perhaps those memories drift through their minds like ghostly reflections, a gentle replay of everything they've lived and loved. For dolphins, consciousness never fully fades, but transforms. Half the mind stays alert, half drifts into calm silence. It's like being awake within a dream, aware and peaceful, both at once. What connects them is something profound: the need to balance awareness and surrender, the art of resting without losing the thread of life. In many ways, these creatures reveal an ancient truth, that sleep is not absence. It's a different kind of presence. Elephants, dolphins, and perhaps even humans all return night after night to this hidden dimension of being. We slip beneath the surface of consciousness, but we never vanish from the great pattern of awareness that flows through all life. So the next time you close your eyes, imagine them too, the elephants beneath the stars, the dolphins beneath the waves, sharing the same quiet mystery of rest, each dreaming in their own beautiful way. Close your eyes for a moment and think of all the living beings who dream beside us on this spinning blue planet. The dog curled at the foot of your bed, the bird tucked beneath its feathers, the dolphin gliding through half-sleep in the sea, and even the elephant standing still beneath the quiet stars. Each one, in their own way, drifts into another world, a private world of sensations, memories, and feelings. And as we've learned, these dreams are not random illusions. They are reflections of life itself. When a rat replays a maze in its sleep, it tells us that dreams help organize memory. When a dog's paw twitches and its nose sniffs an invisible scent, it tells us that dreams carry fragments of emotion. And when birds practice songs in their slumber, it shows that dreams shape skill and learning. In this way, animal dreams are not so different from ours. They may not speak in language or weave stories as humans do, but they remind us that the mind, even across species, shares a universal rhythm. Sleep, memory, imagination, they are woven together like threads in the same great tapestry. Perhaps that's what makes the idea of animal dreams so moving. It connects us, not through words, but through something much older, much quieter, the gentle pulse of consciousness itself. Because when we dream, we are not alone. We are joined by every creature that closes its eyes and slips softly into the same mysterious space within. Now, let's drift a little deeper, beyond the scientific patterns and brain waves, into the tender space where emotion lives. Dreams, in humans and animals alike, often mirror the emotional life of the dreamer. They help the brain process fear, comfort, joy, and grief. Think of an orphan elephant who once pressed its forehead to the bones of an elder, or a mother dolphin circling her lost calf. In their sleep, the images of those they loved might still return, soft, flickering, like sunlight through water. And in that flicker, emotion finds healing. This is something we know from human neuroscience, that during REM sleep, the brain's emotional centers remain active, while the stress-related chemicals fade away. It's as if dreaming gives emotion a chance to breathe again, to reshape pain into memory, and memory into calm. When we see animals twitch or sigh in their sleep, we might be witnessing the same process. Their brains releasing the tensions of the day, their hearts finding balance between experience and rest. And perhaps that's the greatest gift of dreaming. It restores peace, not only to us, but to all life that feels and remembers. So when we watch a pet dream, we are not just seeing motion, we are seeing emotion at work, a living, breathing reminder that love, memory, and hope are not uniquely human things. Now let your breathing slow and imagine the earth itself, turning quietly in the dark, across forests and deserts, oceans and skies. Millions of creatures are asleep, each one dreaming in its own way. From the tiniest mouse to the great blue whale, their dreams rise and fall like waves of a single ocean, different shapes, different languages, but beneath them all lies one truth. The mind, wherever it appears, seeks meaning. Science tells us that dreams serve to organize the past, to prepare us for what comes next. But there is also something poetic here, something spiritual, even because when you realize that a sparrow and a human share the same rhythm of REM, that a rat rehearses memories as we do, that an elephant might relive moments of love and loss in its slumber, you begin to see life as one great continuum. It reminds us that consciousness, in all its forms, is not divided, it's connected. The same neural spark that lights up our dreams shimmers in the brains of creatures around us. Maybe that's what animal dreams truly teach us. That to be alive is to imagine, to remember, to feel. When you dream tonight, you might walk through a forest of your own making, or drift beneath imagined stars. And somewhere in that same night, a fox or a whale or a bird might be dreaming too. Different lives, different minds, but the same quiet yearning to explore the world within. So as this story closes, take a deep breath and feel the stillness settle around you. The world is sleeping, and you are part of that great, gentle rhythm. Good night, dear listener, and goodbye. May your dreams, like those of every creature beneath the stars, be soft, mysterious, and kind